To remind viewers of the pictures that we're seeing, we believe this is off the Gaza coast, 40-kilometre stretch of coastline. A big ship, a big boat on fire there. It's been struck by an airstrike. We're also seeing other enormous splashes around it, as if it is continuously being targeted. We don't quite know what the target is, but we do believe that is off the Gaza coast. And it's unusual for us to be seeing pictures of a strike on a vessel in the water. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that and bringing you more information on exactly what's going on there as soon as we get it. Well, just a little earlier, before these extraordinary pictures, we saw other extraordinary pictures, which was a huge barrage of rockets being fired from Gaza towards southern Israel. We were about to go to our correspondent, Charles Stratford, who's in Kfar Aza in southern Israel. But just as we were about to go, he had to take cover from, we presume, the rockets that were being fired from Gaza. So, Charles, you're back with us now. I'm glad to hear you're safe and sound. Talk us through what happened.
Well, Laura, an indication of just how fragile and tense the situation is here. As you rightly say, we are in Kfar Aza, one of the towns that the Israeli military said today they've taken full control of from Hamas. However, as you say, we were about to come up live for you, and scenes of utter panic here, it has to be said, amongst the Israeli military. Many soldiers running for cover initially. You can hear outgoing artillery there, but it transpires that there was great fear of a possible infiltration back into Kfar Aza. Now, we can't confirm whether that happened or not, but certainly that was what was being said by some of the soldiers here. Them all taking cover. Another soldier said that the incident had happened about 4 kilometres down the road. As I say, it's an indication of just how fragile the security situation is here at the moment. What the military have said, though, earlier today is that although they've taken control of these towns, like Kfar Aza, they are fearful that there could well be Hamas fighters, Palestinian fighters that are at large, that have taken cover and are hiding in the fields and farmlands in this area of southern Israel. So, yeah, the situation remains very kind of fluid here, and there's a lot of rather nervous-looking soldiers. 5 or 10 minutes ago, things have calmed down a little bit. But, yes, Kfar Aza, we were in the town this morning, and scenes of utter devastation, shocking scenes, bodies all over the place. Many Hamas fighters, many civilians, both Israeli citizens and, we were told, also foreign workers. Their bodies were still being removed from the houses in which they were living. Just terrible to see, their lives blown out across these manicured lawns, these places that they'd lived in and taken pride in, a very different world to the world, of course, across the border in Gaza. But we were also taken to the fence where there was a wide gap in it, where the Hamas fighters had come through, one of dozens of breaches, so the Israeli military tell us. They showed us a paraglider as well, which they said Hamas had used to cross into Israel. So they hadn't even counted the bodies, as I say. They didn't even know how many people had been killed in Kfar Aza. What we do know is that up the road in another village called Biri, that body count has actually been completed. And according to the military, there were 108 Israelis killed in that village alone. That amounts to 10% of the population of that village. So, the situation, as I say, remains very fluid, despite these announcements from the Israeli military that they have taken control fully of this area.
And it's worth remembering, isn't it, that despite these fast moving developments that we keep reporting on and keeping up with, that this is an area, this is a country that's still deeply in shock, still reeling from the aftermath of those horrific attacks on Saturday morning by Hamas fighters on large portions of the population. What are people there saying about that?
As you say, people are in a state of complete and utter shock, and many are very angry too. I mean, we weren't able to speak to any civilians in Kfar Aza because there's nobody there. Those that survived have obviously left because their village is in ruins. But we were earlier on today in the town of Sderot, which is around 3 kilometres just northeast of the Gaza border. Another town, that was infiltrated by Hamas and Palestinian gunmen. Many of the villagers there, many of the people that live there are still there. They don't want to be evacuated. But one man we spoke to, perhaps an indication of the level of hatred that this attack from Hamas and other Palestinian fighters has caused. He was very candid. He said, we're going to kill them all. We're going to take them out. They have to be punished. We're going to block their food, cut their electricity, stop their power, stop their water. We have to do everything we can to get revenge and to stop this ever happening again. And what was unclear, and I pushed him on this, what was unclear was whether it was actually Hamas he was talking about or Palestinians. So, as I say, it's a graphic and terrifying indication of the level of fear and hatred that this has caused.
OK. Charles, thank you very much for bringing us a very vivid picture of the scene there in southern Gaza, southern Israel. This is Gaza that you can see now, or just off the coast of Gaza. This vessel, this boat, fully on fire. Actually, it's been burning for quite some time now. It appears to have been struck by airstrikes there just off the coast of Gaza. Unusual for us to see vessels in the water being targeted by these airstrikes. We're more used to seeing the city itself, buildings, but a large fire there on this vessel, as Rob Reynolds was saying, that if these boats are becoming targeted, it might affect shipping in the area. That's something we'll have to explore in the coming hours. Let's bring you up to speed with the death toll that we are seeing at this current state. It is at 1,688. That's 900 Israelis, 788 Palestinians. But we do expect that number to be rising. We're expecting updates on that number.